Hi everybody, Armored Pants here, and today I have another video for you. Welcome back on channel, and we are going to look at the dangers of being isolated and why it not only ruins your game but actually ruins the game of your team. We're going to have a look at some gameplay to illustrate that. The game that we're going to have a look at, by the way, guys, is a mastery game me running the Cromwell. It's a series of videos I've been running looking at sort of the mid-level, mid-tier, medium tank decision making. But I thought this game was very illustrative of something which happens quite often now, particularly because matchmaking is not really working that well, and it is teammates getting isolated and how that basically ruins the whole game for the whole rest of the team, regardless of what else they can do. It makes it very difficult to win a game, and you really need to carry a lot, and it's not possible all the time, right? Now, in the game that we're going to have a look at, by the way, two tanks get isolated, right? There's an AT, but before that, a Panther. Now, when you look at this, you might think, oh, those guys were AFK, but there's something there which shows that they are not AFK. And I want you to see if you can spot what that is, because it's that eagle eye, which basically kind of makes us better players. So have a look out for that little pop quiz for you. All right, so let's open up the gameplay and let's have a look at it, and let's have a look at why it is so important not to get isolated, because in Blitz it's 7v7, right? It's a team game. You can't play in isolation of your team. So as we watch the countdown here, obviously first thing to do is to look at the setup. I've looked at the setup and I've decided, okay, look, I am going to go towards C. There's a T43 on my team as well. If he comes with me, rapid firing, decent frontal armor tank, very good tier 7 medium tank. And if he comes with me, then we have a good chance of seizing C. I pop up here over the hill to see if I can spot the enemy. Nothing doing. So now I come down. I see the T43 moving to the right hand side of me. So I know that he is going to be there on my flank, and I move into a position here where I'm capturing the base. And if you look at what I'm doing, I'm using the terrain, the hill, and the rock in front of me to make sure that if something comes onto me from the front onto C, they're not going to pen me. Now the Panther is spotted. He's been spotted by the T43. And it seems like he's just sitting there, and it seems like he might be AFK, but he's not, right? And when you come around the corner, you can see why, if you have noticed why. We'll discuss that at the end of the video. But anyway, he's not AFK, right? He's just sitting there. He's isolated. Now, what he was doing there, I really no idea. I don't know if he was waiting to try to ambush us, waiting to see if anybody went to see, then he could go and capture it. But he hasn't. Now, the Panther is one of their best tanks, and you can see now he's just been taken out. By the way, what I did there was I switched up to APCR. I did a video about this, and I entered as drive wheel. The drive wheel is a very vulnerable part of most tanks, but particularly on the Panther and the Tiger, also the IS-7. Now, the AT might have looked like he was AFK as well, but he wasn't. He was there actually supporting the Panther, but he made a mess out of it because he was too far away from the support. And in the end, then he wasn't able to do anything, and he's going to get taken out now by me too. I think I've blown one of the modular killed his crew because he's just stuck here now. By the way, when he stopped, when he put the brakes on, then I don't know if it's because I killed his crew member or he just decided he wasn't going to grab it anymore. And he did some damage to me, right? So it's like being, it's like if you're a fly half or scrum half, getting caught by one of the forwards in rugby, or a quarterback getting caught by a linebacker. By the way, let me know if that American football reference makes any sense, because I've only ever been to one American football game, and that's when I lived in San Francisco, and I went to see the 49ers, and they got fucking hammered, so that was a waste of $50. Yeah, so let me know, because I'm not really an American football guy, but maybe that makes sense or not. Let's see. So look, those two guys got isolated, right? They got taken out by me in the T43, and basically the game's over now, right? So I'm able to go and get a mastery badge, and looks like a bit of a carry, but this was actually a very cheap mastery game, right? I mean, I didn't really have to do too much, right? Taking out that Panther with the T43 and then taking out the AT-7 was pretty easy, right? And nothing, I mean, there's no game skill here to write home about and say, oh, what an amazing game. It's not this video is not about my gameplay or the Greens gameplay. This is about the Reds gameplay, the mistakes they made, and they made it so easy for us. Now, these Churchill things, particularly if you've got a low penning gun like the Cromwell, it's like trying to penetrate a 90-year-old nun. So you need to use kind of APCR. And also, if you look, so I switched up to APCR here. Also, if you look at how slow his turret traverse is, his turret kind of turns much like Linda Blair's character in The Exorcist, right? I mean, it's turning, but it's very slow and kind of freaky as well. And the enemies able to get taken out there. Also, I take one here, but I was going to get around the tiger, but my teammates took him out. And you can see that it's a 6-0 game. It was all over very, very quickly. And, as my grandfather used to say, it was short and sweet, like a donkey's run. And, very short game. And, all over. And really, because they're two of their tanks, but particularly one of their best tanks. They're like the Panther and the Tiger, the best tanks in their team. The Panther got isolated and got taken out. He basically just threw away his hit points and enabled us to win the game. And once he was gone, then the AT is isolated. Then there are 2 tanks down before they know it. So don't get isolated, as you saw there. By the way, to answer my question, how do we know that the Panther wasn't AFK? Well, because when we looked at him, he was facing the wrong way, right? If he was AFK, he would have been facing towards C, not away from it. So he deliberately moved into that position. And also the AT wasn't, because he had moved as well and he was facing down onto the Panther to try to cover him. So that's how we know that they weren't AFK. They actually made those poor decisions to basically isolate themselves and lose the game for their team. So what lessons can we learn from this? Well, firstly, don't get isolated. It's a very bad idea, right? Secondly, you can basically help yourself not be isolated by looking at the team setup and deciding where to go. And if you look at the video we just did about checking the setup and the importance that it has in making good decisions and having a successful game, this is the opposite of that, right? They didn't do this and they made an absolute balls out of it and lost the game for their team, rather. Sorry. So basic lesson is check the setup, check where your team is going, even if they're not going where you want to go, right? Let's say the Panther probably wanted his team to go towards C and support them. All right, if they don't do that, but don't fucking go on your own. Don't like cut off your nose to spite your face. Go with your team, because the Panther, if he'd gone towards A, could have gotten around maybe behind our heavies and done a lot of damage with that 75mm really fast firing gun that he has. So basic rule is pay attention at the start. Don't get isolated, because if you do, you're going to die and you're going to lose the game for your team and not be a good team player. So guys, I hope you found this useful. I hope you found it enjoyable. It's a very simple rule. It's a rule that all of us can follow, all of us can do. It doesn't require any particular skill. All it requires is a bit of savvy, using the noggin up. And remember, as my grandmother used to say, it's up here for dancing, down there for thinking. Bear in mind that if you just push decisions just because you want to do them and they're not the right ones for your team, you're going to lose and end up frustrated. So I hope you found that useful. Hope you found it enjoyable. Now I guess all that remains for me to say is go 49ers. Sorry, I mean, pants off.